Sorry.
Yes, I. Yes, I. Hail the I.
Thanks. Sheila, give thanks. That's fine enough. Give thanks, one and all. Give thanks for thy attendance, thy rising up. Aye. Yes, I give thanks to our Father for another rising. Find I to do better today than we did yesterday. You know, welcome again to the state of Neguselam, section 9, the Tawahido, Negus, and the Negus golden invitation, the covenant of mercy. Isaiah 55, verse 1 through 4. Sunday, April 27th, 2025. The Nika's golden rule: do not reward evil for evil. Do unto others as you have done unto you. Sila, sila, sila. Yes, I. He said, Melbrak, more and Bessa, Zemanagated Jehuda, of Ethiopia, the conquering lion of Judah. Sila, sila, sila. Adhu, Ab, World, Memphis, Kudus, Haile Kal, Abba, Kudus, Kenamawi, Haile Selassie, Shem, Exhibia, Bahaman, Ab, World, Memphis, Kudus, Haile Kal, Abba, Kudus, Kenamawi, Haile Selassie, Shem, Exhibia, Sila, Sila Melchett, the word used in Ethiopia to refer to the unity Godhead of the Ab, Weld, Memphis, Kudus. The three Iris in the Godhead are referred to the Akel, highly Akel, Abba, Kudus, Kanamawe, highly Selassie, Shem, Exhibir. The might and power of divine peace of the Kudus Selassie working in the eyes and man. Ababa Jahoy Tesilat prayer, our Father, who art in Zion, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom hath come, thy will be done throughout earth as it is in Zion. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as I and I forgive those who trespass against I and I. Strengthen us in temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, world without end, through the true and faithful witness of the Adu Ab, Goel, Memphis, Kudus, Haile Akal, Abba Kudus, Kenamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibia. Sila, sila, sila. Nugusa salam, leku leke mu, makam negatu. Abakudus kenamawe, kenamawe, haile, sila, siam, exhibit. You negotiate and get to your daily meskela. The Ethiopia can have negotiate. You negotiate those wede. I'm like Hana, Hailena. Wasawana, Hasana, Hasana, Sata, Amasagana, Amlakana, Hailena, Wasawana, Hasana, Hasana, Sata, Masagana. Amlakana, Hailena, Wasawana, Hasana, Hasana. Sata Masagana, Amlakana Hailena, Wasawana, Hasana Hasana, Sata Masagana, Amlakana Hailena, Wasawana. Hasana, Hasana. Tata Masakana. Sila, Sila, Meleked. Sila. Badahani Alam. Sila. Prayer for Ethiopia. Deliverance. Aliyah. Ethiopia. Deliverance. By the Ethiopian World Federation, one of the matriarchs, the wife of our emissary from our Negus, Dr. Maliku E. Bayan. Prayer for Ethiopia's deliverance to be said twice daily. O exhibit of our fathers and Lord of mercy, who has made all things by thy word and ordained man through thy wise mind, that he should have dominion over the creatures which thou hast made, and over the world according to equity and righteousness, and execute judgment with an upright heart. Give wise mind to thy servant, Kadamawe Haile Selassie, to him exhibit thy elect, whom thou hast raised up from the east to deliver and mete out thy judgments to the nations of the world. Bestow upon him, we pray, wise mind in like measure as unto Solomon, that he may sway the scepter of thy promise with equity and in righteous judgment to all who have robbed and bespoiled I. Have mercy upon I, Siam exhibit of all, and send thy fear upon the nations that seek not after thee. Lift up thy hand upon the strange nations who are possessed and let them see thy power, as thou wast sanctified in I before them, so be thou magnified among them before I. Let them know thee, we have known thee, that there is no other exhibit, but thou only thou, O Siam exhibit, thou that throws thyself unto the neck, reveal thy covenant. Show new signs and make strange wonders, raise up indignations and your wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy our enemies. Remember thy covenant. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. Start in the day, oh Siam exhibit, that thy people everywhere to stretch forth their hands unto thee. Let them that spoil I everywhere be consumed with the rage of thy fire. Let them perish that oppress and rob I continually. Have mercy upon thy peculiar people, O Siam exhibit, who are called by thy name and scattered among the nations. Give courage to those that possess thee, and frustrate the designs of the enemies within and without, and return their evils upon their own heads. Fire. Reward them that faithfully serve in leading thy people everywhere, and destroy our enemies speedily, that they would know that there is no exhibit like unto Ethiopia's Shem exhibit. Hasten the day of universal brotherhood, when all mankind shall invoke thy name in merit and in truth, when idolatry and superstition shall no longer enslave our minds or blind our eyes. Help I to know and keep thy commandments. Hear I prayers, and fill I with thy true merit, that all who dwell upon the earth may know that thou art the only exhibit, the everlasting and eternal exhibit, our living man. For unto us a child was given, unto us a son was born, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and this is the name whereby he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the mighty exhibit, the everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. Selah, Selah, Selah. The Voice of Ethiopia, Volume 1, number 33, September 11, 1937 Ethiopian New Year fireball. The shield of I defense and strength and buckler. King of Kings speaks on the personal responsibility for all of I to take up so we can fulfill our mission bequeathed to I through our great patrimony that has been given to I to fulfill. For this responsibility is for all of we to maintain our identity like a village. For I mission is to promote love and unity. Therefore, standing in love and unity as one, we stand in our integrity and we stand in our sovereignty under the throne of our ever-living Son that was given unto I in this time. His time on earth has begun. Let all of us follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Let the officials follow it closely. Let them serve their people and their country with humility and diligence. But diligence and humility and service to one's country are not the task of officials only. They are not the task of anyone alone. The present project will demand close contact and cooperation between all of I. Officials to whom we have entrusted various degrees of responsibility, guided by the example of Negus Christ, who, having declared, I came to serve you, not to be served by you. Sila must brought himself low and washed the feet of his disciples, must render service to the people without charge for these services, as we have repeated many times over in our last pronouncement. We would like again to emphasize the value of time and urge you to dedicate yourselves to hard work and profitably utilize your time. There is no energy in the world, including that of the atom, that cannot be controlled. However, there is no scientist on earth who could control, even for a second, the flow of time. For this reason, never idle away your time. However, briefly, is it not you, her children, that I refer to as Ethiopia? Fireball. Our lasting hope has ever been, with the help of the Almighty, to help promote the interests and well-being of our people, not to get disillusioned by remote hopes and wishful thinking. May Ababa Jahai Siam Exhibiha help I in the fulfillment of I undertaking to fulfill his mission for we, the black peoples of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom, and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage, do hereby establish and ordain this Constitution for the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated unto His Imperial Majesty as the Commander-in-Chief of the Imperial Mahel Safari, in accordance with the 1931 Ethiopian Constitution and revised 1955 Constitution, given to I by our August Majesty on July 16, 1930. Chapter 2, Powers and Prerogatives of the Emperor, Article 29. The Emperor reserves the right, with the advice and consent of Parliament, to declare war. He further reserves the right to decide what armed forces shall be maintained, both in times of peace and in times of war. As Commander-in-Chief of the armed forces, he has the right to organize and command the said forces, to commission and to confer military rank upon the officers of the said forces, and to promote, transfer, or dismiss any of the said officers. He has further the right to declare a state of siege, martial law, or national emergency, and to take such measures as are necessary to meet a threat to the defense or integrity of the empire and to assure its defense and integrity. So, in accordance with Ethiopian law, he established the Ethiopian World Federation, incorporated unto himself as commander-in-chief in this Armageddon to bring forth equality and peace throughout the world unto himself. For the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and the gathering of the people shall be unto him. In accordance with Article 30, the emperor exercises the supreme direction of the foreign affairs of the empire. The emperor accredits and receives ambassadors, ministers, and missions. He alone has the right to settle disputes between foreign powers by education, adjudication, and other peaceful means, and provides for and agrees to measures of cooperation with foreign powers for the realization of the ends of security and common defense. He alone has the right to ratify, on behalf of Ethiopia, treaties and other international agreements to determine which treaties and international agreements shall be subject to ratification before becoming binding upon the empire. However, all treaties of peace and all treaties of international agreements involving a modification of the territory of the empire or of sovereign jurisdiction over any part of the territory or land, a burden on the Ethiopian subjects personally, or modifying legislation in existence, or requiring expenditures of state funds, or involving loans or monopolies, shall, before becoming binding upon the empire and the inhabitants thereof, be laid before Parliament. And if both houses of the Parliament shall approve the same in accordance with the provisions of Article 88 through 90, inclusive of the present Constitution, shall then be submitted to the emperor for ratification. So, in accordance by law, he created the King's Mission, the Ethiopian World Federation, as an auxiliary force to come against a common threat to preserve the integrity and sovereignty of our divine heritage. So, any of this clause was not violated in the establishment of the King's Mission of INI, the Ethiopian World Federation. Its mission is to promote love and unity, therefore securing our integrity and securing our divine sovereignty given to INI. Word for the Mashafa Bahan, the book of light. Selah, Isaiah 55:4. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. Selah, Selah, I stand, and I fend this, not with hands, but with a righteous stand. And we have to bring forth that this has become our reality. It's not only just a prayer, it is our reality. So we have to stand and evoke this as law, as we stand among all of them in their states, and we invoke their law and the clauses of their law that we live by day to day, when we are stopped by the enforcers of their law. I have to come forward in this time and stand and bring forth the words of creation for the foundation for our Father, who art in Zion. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom has come. Thy will shall be done throughout earth as it is in Zion. Yes, in this day, under the sun, moon, and stars, right here, our commander in chief, as Isaiah 55:4, 5-4, 5:4-5 describes the suffering servant as a witness, leader, a commander to the people. This means that the servant represents Exhibir, leads people to follow him, and commands people to obey him. Witness, the servant represents and speaks in Exhibir's name. Highly Selassie, Siam, Exhibir. He confirms the covenant that Exhibir made with his people, which is the sixth covenant of the 7 Tawahido covenants, which is the covenant of the oath unto David, which is in Psalm 132. Of the fruit of thy loins shall I set upon thy throne. If thy children shall keep thy covenants and thy statutes, they and their children shall also sit upon thy throne forevermore. Leader, the servant teaches people to profit and leads them in the right way. He leads people out of their own ways and to his ways. Commander, the servant commands people to obey him. He is wise, powerful, valiant, and courageous leader. He was always victorious. The servant calls a nation that was ignorant of true faith. Nations will eagerly run to serve him because he glorified the only true and living Exhibit. Kidus Selassie, Sila, Sila, that manifest themselves through prophecy, Sila, to bring forth the true foundation of creation, which is righteous man and righteous woman, to bring forth the star children. Yes, through prophecy, we have our Kidus Selassie, who manifests himself as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Iron of Truth. That's through the prophecy that has been came to us through our Tawahido to bring forth the true meaning of creation, which is the divine man and the divine woman. Sila, our faithful witness. Sila, our holy witness in Christ. I and I holy leader in Christ. I and I holy commander in Christ. Isaiah 55:4. Zechariah 14 describes the second coming of Christ, the last siege of Jerusalem by Roman forces, and the millennial kingdom that follows after the Neguse's victory. This chapter also describes the signs of the times before Christ's coming and the fate of the enemies of the church. Yes, I. Hila, I shield of our united defense. The prophetical Tawahido king of Mama Mia, Ethiopia. Here we have a portrait of the king sitting upon the lap of Mama Ethiopia and the divine holy Irit in the white dove ascending upon him. Sila, Sila. This painting was stolen by the fascist General Graziani and taken back to Rome. It has returned. They took so many things away so the people would not know their king and know him in a divine light and manner. Yes, I. Sila, Sila. The 7 Tawahido covenants of Ethiopia. According to the long and living Ethiopian tradition, there are 7 covenants as enshrined in the scriptures that Exhibit made with humanity ever since creation. The first of these covenants is signified and internalized by the holy matrimony of Adam and Eve. The second by the rainbow or Noah. The third by the bread and wine offering of Melchizedek. The fourth by the circumcision of Abraham. The fifth by the ark of Moses. The sixth by the throne of David. The seventh and last by the promised son of David that would arise and will come, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And this is the name whereby he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the mighty Siam Exhibir, the everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. The covenants as described above and these symbolized by real signs are personified by the humble individuals who pleased Exhibir with their true love for him. These persons became unique and parties of their respective covenant with Exhibir following their similar triumphs over great trials of various physical and juridical dimensions. And these trials were meant to test the truthfulness of their love for Exhibir. Before each one of them actually won his favor, they to be chosen as a representative party for the Pacific Divine Covenant. These 7 holy covenants constitute Ethiopia or the Ethiopian. In other words, Ethiopia or the Ethiopian is these 7 covenants, and these 7 covenants are Ethiopia or the Ethiopian. Outside of these 7 covenants, there is no Ethiopia, and there is no Ethiopian. Word from the Mashafa Bahan, the book of light. Isaiah 61:1. The iron of Siam Exhibir is upon I, because the Lord has anointed I to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has bind I and I, to set the bind I up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. Fireball hot. Ye Ethiopia, Koheb Negusi, the star king of Ethiopia, Abakudus, Kenamaore, Adisilasiam, Exhibir, Bahani Alam, the light, the star king of Ethiopia. Yes, I. Sila. State of Neguselam, a consciousness of innermost peace brought to embracing the reality of our true liberty through our promised Redeemer, the Lord our righteousness, and the Lord our vengeance. For vengeance is mine, said the Lord of hosts. Hosanna, Hosanna. John chapter 14, verse 27, Psalms 101. Testament of Levi, Selah. From the forgotten books of Eden, testament of the 12 patriarchs. Then shall the Lord raise up a new priest, and to him all the words of the Lord shall be revealed, and he shall execute a righteous judgment upon the earth for a multitude of days, and his star shall rise in heaven as of a king, lighten up the light of knowledge as the sun the day, and he shall be magnified in the world. But the honey alam, light of the world. I pray the eye. Can the item still hear I? I li. I li.
Yes, I.
Yes, sir.
Can the item sight the screen? I li.
Yeah, yes, I hear you.
I li. See la. He shall shine forth as the sun on earth, and shall remove all darkness from the heaven, and there shall be peace in all the earth. The Armageddon. The heavens shall exult in his days, and the earth shall be glad, and the clouds shall rejoice. And the knowledge of Siam Exhibir shall be poured forth upon the earth as the waters the sea. And the angels of the glory of the presence of the Lord shall be glad in him. The heavens shall open, and from the temple of glory shall come upon him sanctification with the Father's voice, as from Abraham to Isaac, and the glory of the Most High shall be uttered over him, and the iron of understanding and the sanctification shall rest upon him in the water. Fireball, hot, Selah. Coronation, New York Times, Sunday, November the 2nd, 1930. Coronation to begin at dawn in Ethiopia. Envoys of many nations and tribal throngs fill capital for picturesque rites. Monarchs pray all night. All water is shut off until emperor and his consort can take a ceremonial bath. This was the headlines in the New York Times on Sunday, November the 2nd, 1930. So the whole world knew that our emperor and his queen took a holy ceremonial bath before they was crowned King of Kings and Queen of Queens. Highly I. No. New York Times, Sunday, November the 2nd, Selah, Selah. The entire water supply, second paragraph, the entire water supply of Addis Ababa was shut off tonight until emperor and his empress could take a ceremonial bath before beginning their all-night vigil in front of their crowns in St. George's Cathedral. The failure of the water supply mystified the Ethiopians and foreigners alike, but was soon explained by the palace officials. Fireball hot. So, in accordance with the prophecy, the glory of the Most High shall be uttered over him, verse 22, and the iron of understanding, overstanding, and sanctification shall rest upon him in the water. Hallelujah. As John the Baptist baptized Justus Christos in the first advent in the river Jordan. This Messiah is associated with the temple, not the river. So we go forward to verse 21. The heavens shall be open, and from the temple of glory shall come upon him sanctification with the Father's voice, as from Abraham to Isaac, from the Holy of Holies, because the tablet and ark of the covenant is there as well. And the glory of the Most High shall be uttered over him, and the iron of understanding and sanctification shall rest upon him in the water in divine peace. For he shall give the majesty of the Lord to his sons in truth forevermore, and there shall none succeed him for all generations forever. And in his priesthood the Gentiles shall be multiplied in knowledge upon the earth, and enlightened through the grace of the Lord. In his priesthood shall sin come to an end, and the lawless shall cease to do evil, and he shall open the gates of paradise and remove the threatening sword against Adam. And he shall give to the saints to eat from the tree of life, and the iron of holiness shall be upon them. Selah. And Beliar shall be bound by him, and he shall give power to his children to tread upon the evil spirit, fireball, through divine peace. And the Lord shall rejoice in his children, and be well pleased in his beloved ones forever. Then shall Abraham and Isaac and Jacob exalt, and I will be glad. And all the saints shall be clothed themselves in joy. Hosanna, Hosanna. And now, my children, ye have heard all. Choose therefore for yourselves either the light or darkness, either the law of Shem Exibir or the works of Beliar. And his sons answered him, saying, before Shem Exibir we will walk according to his law. And their father said unto them, the Lord is witness, and his angels are witnesses, and you are witnesses, and I am witness concerning the word of your mouth. And his son said unto him, we are witnesses. And thus Levi ceased commanding his sons, and he stretched out his feet on the bed and was gathered to his forefathers after he had lived 137 years. Selah, Selah, the Bahani Alam, ye Ethiopia, Koheb Negusi, Ethiopian Star King. In Ethiopian history, Ethiopian Itrit Reserve refers to resistance fighters, particularly the Abanach, who fought against Italian occupation during World War II, while Negus is the Amharic word for king or emperor. Essentially, the title is used for the Ethiopian ruler, with the most well-known Negus being Emperor Kadamawi Haile Selassie, meaning Ethiopian Itrites will be those fighting to protect nation under the leadership of their Negus. Selah, Selah, our faithful witness and commander. Selah. John 14:27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. But the honey alam. Psalm 101, I will sing of mercy and judgment to thee. O see, I'm exhibit where I sing. I will behave myself wisely in the Ifrit way, or when without coming to I. I will walk within my house with an Ifrit heart. I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the works of them that turn aside. It should not cleave to I and I. A forward heart should depart from I, and I will not know a wicked person. Whoso previously slander his neighbor, him would I cut off. He that has a high looking and proud heart, but not I and I suffer. My eyes shall be upon the faithful of the land, that they may dwell with thy. He that walk in the perfect way, he shall serve I. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell in thy house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in thy sight. I will utterly destroy all the weak heart of the land, that I may cut off all weak hearts from the city of a Baba Jihai. Eliai, Siam Exhibir, Sela, Madahani Alam, the light of the world, slaying of the slanderous tongue, fireball, the image of envy and jealousy, took captive with the tongue. This means to gain power or control over someone through deceitful or manipulative speech, essentially capturing them with their words. The image of envy and jealousy, fireball, hot, word for the Mashafa Bahan, the book of light, the first book of Adam and Eve, also called the conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, fireball, hot. I had not been, had I not been and spoken to thee, O Adam, concerning the tree, and had I left thee without a commandment, and thou didst sin, it would have been an offense on my part for not having given thee any order. Thou wouldst turn around and blame me for it. But I commanded thee, warned thee, and thou didst fall, so that my creatures cannot blame me, but the blame rests on them alone. And O Adam, I have made the day for thee and for thy children after thee, for them to work and toil therein. And I have made the night for them to rest in it from their work, and for the beasts of the field to go forth by night and seek their food. But little of darkness now remains, O Adam, and daylight will soon appear. Chapter 14. The earliest prophecy of the coming of Christ, the Tawahido Negus, the coming of the Tawahido Negus. Then Adam said unto Exibir, O Lord, take thou my iris, and let I not see this gloom anymore, and remove I to some place where there is no darkness. But Exibir, the Lord, said unto Adam, verily I say unto thee, this darkness will pass from thee. Every day I have determined for thee, unto the fulfillment of my covenant, when I will save thee and bring thee back again into the garden, into the abode of light that thou longest for, wherein is thee. Again said Ixubir unto Adam, all this misery that thou hast been made to take upon thee because of thy transgression will not free thee from the hand of Satan, and will not save thee, but I will, when I shall come down from heaven, and shall become flesh of thy seed, and take upon me the infirmity which thou sufferest. Then the darkness that came upon thee in this cave shall come upon me in the grave, when I am in the flesh of thy seed. And I, who am without years, shall be subject to the reckoning of years and times and months and days, and I shall be reckoned as one of the sons of men in order to save thee. Aha, aha. For the great question among men is, how is the Almighty living amongst men? For the Almighty never get old. How is this the Almighty coming upon we? For the prophecy was given and explained to we before in the Tawahido way. And I, who am without years, shall be subject to the reckoning of years, of times, and of months, and of days, and I shall be reckoned as one of the sons of men in order to save thee. O Exibir, cease to commune with Adam. Fireball hot. The Psalm of Solomon. Aliyah. They set a worldly monarchy. They lay waste the throne of David, a poetic narrative about the utter disintegration of a great nation. O Siam Exhibia, thou art our king forever and ever. For in thee, O Exhibia, do our soul arid glory. How long are the days of man life upon earth? As are his days, so is the hope set upon him. But we hope in Siam Exhibia, our deliverer, for the might of our Siam Exhibia is forever and mercy, with mercy. And the kingdom of our Siam Exhibia is forever over the nations in judgment. Thou, O Lord, Siam Exhibia, did choose David to be king over Israel. Thou swearest to him, touching his seed, that never should his kingdom fail before thee. But for our sins, sinners rose up against I and I. They assailed I and thrust I and I out. What thou hast not promised to them, they took away from I and I through violence, fireball. They in no wise glorify thy honorable name. They set a worldly monarchy in place of that which was their excellency. They laid waste the throne of David in tumultuous ignorance, fireball, hot. But thou, O Siam Exhibia, didst cast them down and remove their seed from the earth, in that there rose up against them a man that was alien to our race. According to their sins, didst thou recompense them, O Siam Exhibia, so that it befell them accordingly to their deeds. Exhibia showed them no mercy. He sought out their seed and let not one of them go free. Faithful is the Lord in all his judgments, which he had doeth upon the earth. The lawless one laid waste our land so that none inhabited it. They destroyed the young and old, and their children together. In the heat of his anger, he sent them away even unto the west, fireball. And he exposed the rulers of the land unsparingly to derision. Being an alien, the enemy acted proudly, and his heart was alien from our Exhibia. And all things whatsoever he did in Jerusalem, as also the nations in the cities of their idols. And the children of the covenant in the midst of the mingled peoples surprised them in evil, fireball hot. There was not among them one that wrought in the midst of Jerusalem mercy and truth. They that loved the synagogues of the pious fled from them as sparrows that fly from their nests. They wandered in deserts that their lives might be saved from harm, fireball. And precious in the eyes of them that live abroad was any that escaped alive from them. Over the whole earth were they scattered by lawless men. I repeat, over the whole earth were they scattered by lawless men. For the heavens withheld the rain from dropping upon the earth. Springs were stopped that sprang perennially out of the depths. They ran down from lofty mountains, for there was none among them that wrought righteousness and justice. From the chief of them to the least of them, all was sinful, took bribes. The king was a transgressor, and the judge disobedient, and the people sinful. Behold, O Siam Exhibia, raise up unto them their king, the son of David, Siam Exhibia, at the time in which thou seest, O Exhibia, that he may reign over better Israel, thy servant, and gird him with strength, that he may scatter unrighteous rulers, and that he may purge Jerusalem from nations that trample her down to destruction. Wisely, righteously, he shall thrust out sinners from the inheritance. He shall destroy the pride of the sinners as a potter's vessel. With a rod of iron he shall break in pieces all their substance. He shall destroy the godless nations with the word of his mouth. And his rebuke, nations shall flee before him, and he shall reprove sinners for the thoughts of their heart. And he shall gather together a holy people, whom he shall lead in righteousness. Fireball, Hot, our commander in chief, and he shall judge the tribes of the people that has been sanctified by the Lord his executioner. And he shall not suffer unrighteousness to lodge any more in their midst, nor shall there dwell with them any man that knoweth wickedness, for he shall know them that they are all sons of their executioner, Neguselam. And he shall divide them according to their tribes upon the land, and neither sojourner nor alien shall sojourn with them any more. He shall judge peoples and nations in the wise mind of his righteousness. And he shall have the heathen nations to serve him under his yoke. He shall glorify the Lord in a place to be seen of all the earth, the top of the mountains. He shall purge Jerusalem, making it holy as of old, so that nations shall come from the ends of the earth to see his glory. At this Ababa, bringing as gifts her sons who had fainted, and to see the glory of Siam, Exhibir, wherewith Exhibir has glorified her. And he shall be a righteous king, taught of Exhibir over them, and there shall be no unrighteousness in his days in their midst, for all shall be holy, and their king, the anointed of the Lord, Siam Exhibir, shall be. All shall be holy, and their king, the anointed of the Lord, Siam Exhibir, Neguselam, the divine peace. For he shall not put his trust in horses and rulers, and he shall not put his trust in horse and rider and bow, nor shall he multiply for himself gold and silver for war, nor shall he gather confidence from a multitude in the day of battle. Fireball hot. For the Lord himself is his king, the hope of him that is mighty, to his hope in Exhibir. All nations shall be in fear before him, for he will smite the earth with the word of his mouth for ever. He will bless the people of the Lord with wise mind and gladness, and he himself will be pure from sin, so that he may rule a great people. Abakadus, Kenamawe, Ali Selassie Siam, Exhibir, and he himself will be pure from sin, so that he may rule a great people. He will rebuke rulers and remove sinners by the might of his word, and relying upon his Exhibir throughout his days, he will not stumble, for Exhibir will make him mighty by means of Memphis Kadus, Abakadus, Kedamawe, highly Selassie Siam Exhibir, highly Akel, the spirit, the might, and power of divine peace of the Kadus Selassie. For Exhibir will make him mighty by means of his holy irit, and wise by means of the irit of overstanding with strength and in righteousness. And the blessing of Siam Exhibir will be with him, and he will be strong and stumble not. His hope will be in the Lord, who then can prevail against him. Selah. He will be mighty in his works and strong in the fear of Siam Exhibir. He will be shepherding the flock of the Lord faithfully and righteously. He will suffer none among them to stumble in their pasture. He will lead them all All right. And there will be no pride among them, that any among them should be oppressed. Neguselam. This will be the majesty of the king of Beta Israel, whom Exhibiah knoweth. He will raise him up over the house of Beta Israel to correct him. His words shall be more refined than costly gold, the choicest. In his assemblies he will judge the peoples and the tribes of the sanctified. Highly, highly, highly. His words shall be like the words of the holy ones in the midst of sanctified peoples. Blessed be they that shall be in those days, in that they shall see the good fortune of Beta Israel, which Exhibiah shall bring to pass in the gathering together of the tribes. For the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and the gathering of the people shall be unto him. In that day they shall see the good fortune of Beta Israel, which Ixabir shall bring to pass in the gathering together of the tribes. May the Lord hasten his mercy upon Beta Israel. May he deliver I and I from the uncleanness of unholy enemies. The Lord himself is our King forever and ever. Highly, highly, highly. Word from the Bashafa Mahan, the Book of Light, the Ode of Solomon. Selah, Selah. Ode 17. A peculiar change to his personality, scarcely realized until the return from it in the last verse. I was crowned by my exhibit. My crown is living. I was justified in my Lord. My incorruptible salvation is he. I was loosed from vanity, and I was not condemned. The choking bonds were cut off by her hands. I received the face and the fashion of a new person. Hallelujah. And I walked in it and was saved. Hallelujah. Overstand not. Selah, Selah. Overstand not. Restoration. Hallelujah. I was crowned by my exhibit. My crown is living. I was justified in my Lord. My incorruptible salvation is he. I was loosed from vanity, and I was not condemned. The choking bonds were cut off by her hands. I received the face and the fashion of a new person. I walked in it and was saved. Hallelujah. And the thought of truth led me on, and I walked after it and did not wonder. Hallelujah. And all that have seen me were amazed and was regarded by them. I was regarded by them as a strange person. And he who knew and brought me up is the Most High in all his perfection. And he glorified I by his kindness and raised my thoughts to the height of his truth. And from this he gave I the way of his precepts, and I opened the doors that were closed. Eli, I stand at the door and knock. If any man shall hear my voice and open the door, I shall come unto him and sup with him, and he with I. I am my father. And from this he gave me the way of his precepts, and I opened the doors that were closed, and break in pieces the bars of iron. But my iron melted and dissolved before I. Fireball hot. Nothing appeared closed to I, because I was the door for everything. And I went over all my bondmen to loose them, that I might not leave any man bound or binding. Remember, for the spirit of Siam Exhibir is upon I, to preach good tidings to the meek, to bind up the brokenhearted. Hallelujah. Sheila. And I went over to all my bondmen to loose them, that I may not leave any man bound or binding. And I imparted my knowledge without grudging, and my prayer in my love. And I sowed my fruits in hearts and transformed them into myself, and they received a blessing and lived. Abakudus kenamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Eximbier. And they were gathered to me and were saved, because they were to me as my own members, and I was their head. Glory to thee, our head, the Lord Messiah, our commander-in-chief, Ababa Jahai, Abakudus Kinamawi, I, the last Siam, Exibir. Hallelujah, Hosanna, Hosanna. Word for the Banshafa Bahan, the book of light, John 10:23. And Negus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. John 10:24. Then came the Jews round about him and said unto him, How long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Christ, tell us plainly. John 10:25. Negus answered them, I told you, and you believe not the words that I do in my Father's name, that bear witness of me. John 10:26. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep, as I said unto you. John 10:27. My sheep hear I voice, and I know them, and they follow I. John 10:28. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. John 10:29. My Father, which gave them me, is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. John 10:30. I and my Father are one. Tawahido. I and my Father are one. Adu Ab Well Memphis Kudus Haile Kal Abakudus Kinamawe Haile Selassie Bahaman Ab Well Memphis Kudus. Holy is the Father, holy is the Son, holy is the Holy Irid. One is the Father, one is the Son, one is the Holy Irid. Adahu Ab Kudus, World, Memphis Kudus, Bahaman Ab, World, Memphis Kudus. One is the Holy Father, one is the Holy Son, one is the Holy Irid. Truly the Father is holy, truly the Son is holy. Truly the Holy Irid is holy. I and my Father are one. Fireball hot. Isaiah 44:6. Thus says the Lord, the King of better Israel, and his Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last, and besides me there is no Exhibir, for they are one. The King and Exhibir are one. Fireball hot. Tawahido hot, one, uniquely divine, one. Hallelujah. Isaiah 44:7. And who, as I, shall call and shall declare it and set in it order for me, since I appointed the ancient people. Overstand that the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them. Fireball hot. Isaiah 44:8. Fear you not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time and have declared it? You are even my witnesses. Is there Exhibir besides I? Yeah, there is no Exhibir. I know not any. Fireball hot. Ethiopia Koheb Negusi, the star king of Ethiopia, his imperial majesty, our holy father, the might and power of the divine peace of the Kedus Selassie, come for restoration and preservation. Isaiah 55:1. Ho, everyone that thirsts, come you to the waters, and he that has no money, come ye, buy, eat. Yes, come, buy wine and milk without money, without price. The golden invitation of the King, which is the covenant of mercy. For the sixth Tawahido covenant represent the mercy seat of Ixibia place upon we, the people, for repentance and restoration and return to humility unto him. Hallelujah. Isaiah 55:2. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfies not? Hearken diligent unto I, and eat that which is good, and let your iron alight itself in fatness. Hallelujah. Incline your ear. Isaiah 55:3. Incline your ear and come unto I. Hear, and your iron shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Fireball hot. The holy Negus is the present given to we. The holy Negus is the power given unto we. For the government shall be upon his shoulder. For unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And this is the name whereby he shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Shem Exhibia, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. Selah. For this right here, we don't need no money. For this covenant says, ho, take heed, everyone that thirsteth, come you to the waters, and he that has no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without money, without price. For in the book of Revelation, he says, I know those who say they are rich, but yet they are poor. And I know those who are poor, but yet they are rich. Fireball hot. At this time, I would like to bring forth our Adrian online Ras Afonso to bring forth the invocation of our royal sovereignty that has been given to us by our divine King through the invitation of the golden covenant of mercy for the blessing of Joseph, the descendants of Joseph in this time. Selah, 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 Aliyah. Yes, I. Aliyah. Selah.
Greetings, greetings. I'm Ross Alfonso. And I just wanted to come and speak and bring a more practical approach to what the brother has been expressing, which is that we are to come and partake with no money. I'm just a little brief summation of who I am and where I'm from. I'm from Florida, of the Americas. I come from a part, quote unquote, Indian and Native family origin. My fathers and his father were Cherokee Indian. So I didn't agree with the narrative that was given us that we were slaves and poor, because my great grandfather came from South Dakota, where he owned over 1,000 acres of land, riverfront land, and came down here to Florida and bought over 1,000 more acres, which our family still dwells on now. But we have been taught that upside down and inside out, and it has been on multiple fronts, on the spiritual front and on the physical front. So as the brother was explaining that the Most High and the King has established for us rule and regulation internationally and on the canon level, but we are living on lower levels than that, which we call ourselves citizens and peoples of nations that are not truly our nation. So to call myself a United States citizen is a dishonor and a disgrace to the Most High and to my people and my ancestors, our ancestors. So I cannot do that. In my earlier years, I'm 42 years old. In my earlier years, in my 20s, I was an advocate for creating a saw that there was not there one in place and a safe haven for those who would consider themselves God's people. Y'all excuse me for one moment, please. Excuse me, I apologize. So I could not call myself a United States citizen. And I took it upon myself to create a, one moment, please.
Hell,
Neguselam. Yes, sir.
I apologize. Uh, so I couldn't call myself a United States citizen. I took it upon myself to create a entity, and we called it the Echo I Am, which stands for Elect Kingdom of International Ambassadors Ministries. And what we were doing to start off as a foundation was to gather members from my local community and in my neighborhood who were being unjustly treated by the system, our local governmental systems, and were basically just grinding material for the system. And come to my studies and research had led me to start going into banking and international law because I saw that that was where the tricks and the lies were. So yeah, I ended up uncovering that President Kennedy assassination was because of what he was doing, which intrinsically in line with the king and what he was pushing. Assassinated because he a speech that his as a matter of fact his inauguration speech. Some of the key points of that are, y'all give me 1 second, let me get to them. So some of his key points, the four basic things that he talked about were consumer rights and the right for the consumer to have safety, the right for him to be informed, the right for him to choose, and the right for him to be heard. And that end up leading to the Truth in Lending Act and what is known as the Consumer Credit Protection Act, which was created in 1998.
I pray the eye. Now I know you have screen sharing ability, yeah. You can share the screen if you like. But to do that, you have to turn your own camera off and scroll over to share and press that button and then press the start sharing and count down. And then you have the screen.
Okay. All right. I think I do have the screen now. Okay. So here was President Kennedy's advocacy, and it says he was not directly involved in the creation of the Consumer Credit Protection Act itself, because he died earlier than it was created. But his philosophies are what propelled the acts to be created for consumer protections, and we are the consumers. What we don't know about the Consumer Protection Act and the Truth in Lending Act is that when it comes down to borrowing from the bank and that whole transaction, we are led to believe that we are the lenders. That we are the borrowers and not the lender. But under the Consumer Protection Act, it specifically expresses that he who went to the bank and requested the quote unquote loan is not the borrower. The bank who actually went to our treasury account, which we hold and is our possession, it's just laws in place that we cannot physically do any transactions for that account on our own behalf. We have to use third parties to do that. And that's where the banks come in. So the banks are taking advantage of that legal ramification and are doubling back and imposing that and making us contractually signed to be the repayer of what already came from our account. And we just didn't know that. So the thing that has come the closest to expressing what I'm talking about is this video presentation from an Albion who has been kind of along the same path that I've been on, who's kind of farther along. And I would like to play that for you all. It's about 10 minutes long. If y'all can indulge for those 10 minutes, I think it will enlighten a lot. So let me go back to share the screen.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
And let's start here.
First and foremost, we need to figure out what is money. Well, everyone thinks they know what money is. They think it's those green things in their pocket, but it's definitely not. I'm going to prove it to you and explain the whole thing to you. So let's start off at Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. It says, no state shall, and then it says a whole bunch of things, but one of the things it says in here is, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Now we look up money in Black's Law Dictionary, and we've got in usual and ordinary acceptation, it means gold, silver, or paper money used as a circulating medium of exchange. Now this part is really the most important part, right? And does not embrace notes, bonds, evidences of debt, or other personal or real estate. Now keep in mind on that one, because we're going to be getting into some excitement here now. Now check it out on here. Federal Reserve note. But wait a second. The definition of money says it does not embrace notes.
Okay, if you're trying to get rid of that muffin top that keeps...
Interesting. Well, if these bad boys ain't money, what in the hell are they? Well, the answer comes from the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 3, Section 104, which we're going to talk about more. And they're actually called negotiable instruments. So instrument basically means like any document or contract or deed or security. Negotiable means transferable. So this is actually a security, essentially, or a promissory note that I can transfer to you, and then you will now be able to possess that value, right? Now they break down, UCC 3, Article 3 is the section that's all about negotiable instruments, all about our money supply that we have. All the information on that can be found in UCC Article 3, which we'll be talking about a lot. Now they define negotiable instruments as only two things: an unconditional promise to pay or an unconditional order to pay a fixed amount of money, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be talking a lot about this. This is all how infinite money really works. So we have, like I said there, negotiable instruments, unconditional promise to pay or an unconditional order to pay, right? Now there's two different terms that you're going to see, and we're going to break all these terms down.
Can y'all hear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. What he's doing right now is called the Bill of Exchange Act. It's been around since the 1800s, and it specifically talks about when the owner of a piece of property goes off on a voyage and is gone from his property for years at a time. Here in the United States, we call that squatter's rights. When somebody can come and squat on a piece of land, and because they have been on that land for an allotted amount of time, they can actually have the land transferred into their name. This is actually what is going on every time that we go and we fill out an application for absolutely anything that has a financial assessment or value attached to it. We are quite intricately leasing a portion of our estate. And because there are people who understand the legal ramifications of law better than we are, they are reverse engineering and stealing what is ours, because there is no such thing as money of existence. It is just as the brother explained in the video, it's a promissory note and a negotiable instrument. So they're just renegotiating a negotiation that they have in their possession in books. So because we have not been trained on contract law and on financings and financial law and literacy, we have been taught to endorse with what's called a blanket endorsement. And that is basically like giving somebody a check that is already endorsed and it has no amount written on it, and they can fill in whatever amount they want. This is what happens every time that we go into this quote unquote financial world and apply for finances. We have given the bank the ability or a blank check to go to the treasury and withdraw from our accounts because they belong to us. It doesn't belong to the government. It doesn't belong to the state. Every person's name and the promise that they have between them and their creator, which is that he shall supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory. They're writing blank checks on that. And now it has come to a point where they're actually creating people that don't actually have flesh and blood and doing the same actions. So they're basically that's what they call hypothecation. So they're just printing money out of thin air. It all belongs to us, and they're utilizing it for their benefit and for their will when they actually, and they are not paying those finances that they owe to us back into our accounts on the federal level, our treasury accounts. So this is why the treasury is going through the things it is going through. Finances is in such a disarray, and we actually have a national deficit because that should not be. There should be no such thing as a national deficit if we were utilizing and conducting the affairs of banking how they are supposed to be conducted, because the banks are always the ones who owe, and they owe to a treasury account that has our name on it. So literally and truly, when they're collecting from us, they're stealing from us because we already paid it forward. It was already paid for. It already came out the treasury account. The only thing that they were supposed to be doing is managing and administering the account balance and doing the accounting, making sure that everything is proper and in line. And that's what President Kennedy was attempting to make sure the United States did for its people, which is what is supposed to be done in period. We're supposed to treat others how we want to be treated, and that's not what's going on. So the only way around that is to utilize what the king has given us to utilize. I don't feel like we need to take up arms or anything of that nature, but to more collaborate, learn for ourselves the financial literacy that needs to be there, or implement the organization that is to handle that, and then do so. Because if finances is the problem, it should not be. The only thing that should be our issue is dealing with the spiritual warfare, because all the people are cared for when we know how to actually utilize what's been in place
Yeah,
and implement us.
yeah.
And I release.
I pray that, hey, how the covenant that the king has given us can I know those who are poor, but yet they are rich. How does what you just said intertwine with our restoration as Joseph in Egypt was when he was sold by his brothers down into Egypt? But now the descendants of Joseph, as those who were separated from their brethren, also we have the blessing of the spiritual corn and material corn. How did that come into what you're saying? See?
Well, just as Joseph was placed next to the king or the power of that time, we here in the United States that are heirs are next to the power. And when we actually claim our heirship and our rights, that intrinsically causes what happened when our brothers and sisters were released from Egypt to occur. When we left out of Egypt, we left out wealthy beyond measure. And that is the same thing that is able to happen now. When we leave and give back the United States, quote unquote, citizenship, and take on upon our true mantle, we now have the ability, because we are in from within the power, to reacclimate and reclaim what is ours and utilize it how the kingdom sees fit, instead of how the United States sees fit and is utilizing it now. So we have wealth beyond measure that is ours for the claiming and transferring when we so establish ourselves to and position ourselves to be able to do that. Because it takes a consulate ambassador mantle to even operate and come from up out of this system that we are in. So the king has set up our nation and the system that we are to run to We just have not done it properly enough to transfer the assets and the wealth that we hold within the United States into the Ethiopian World Federation, which is our new and higher citizenry. Did that answer the question?
Yes, sir. And we have not been doing our due diligence to be organized within the Constitution. Because once the people are together within the numbers, that's what matters to be able to implement anything within the mechanism. So until we can gather and we can function to make functionalities a norm within our culture to build our culture, we won't get anywhere except for talk. Until we sit down and we say, this is what I can offer, and I'm here in the room because the rooms are here. So once we are in these steps, which these steps are happening right now, we just need to find our places and our position to get into these steps because the movement is happening. And we see it every day where new leaders are popping up all over the continent to do the works. Not talk the rhetoric to talk back to the West, not talk the rhetoric to talk bad about anybody else, but the rhetoric to say, we got this coming up, we got that coming up, we got this next step, we got that next step. And when the results have been shown in the past few years, people have been satisfied with those type of leaderships. And today we have a situation now where Ibrahim Traore is doing his due diligence to bring unity amongst himself and others, not to have that mantle himself, but to speak that talk that says from the perspective of us, not a perspective of escaping, but a perspective of standing up. And that's what Burkina Faso represents as upright men. That energy is here. Give thanks.
Thanks.
Yes, give thanks, sir. Give thanks, brother, our member, Ras Alfonso of Local 49 out of Panama City, Florida. And I give thanks to enlighten us about the invoking of our royal sovereignty given from our King in the great golden invitation of mercy established by Isaiah 55. Ho, come eat, come drink without money, without price, you know? So this is a mercy free will offering for those who are thirsty to do for their people to come and take part of. For he said, I know those who are rich, but yet they are poor, and I know those who are poor, but yet they are rich. And out of which we shall come out with great substance. So I give thanks again for ones coming this time on the state of Neguselam, Sila, for this is an initiative to invoke divine unity through divine peace amongst I and I, so we can overcome our greatest enemy, which is internal conflict among I and I, to stop I and I from fulfilling our aims, to promote love and goodwill to one another, thereby stand in unity, thereby stand in integrity, and standing and claiming our divine heritage and divine sovereignty through customary law given to I, which our natural law. For the divine woman and the divine man stand together to give forth, in this time, the divine youthdom, the stars. So I give thanks once again for section 9, the Tawahedo Negus, and the Negus golden invitation, the covenant of mercy, Isaiah 55, 1 through 4. Give thanks, give thanks. Are there any questions on the floor at this time? Ali.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give thanks. For the brother Alfonso, I just wanted to just kind of like a question, but a little bit kind of like a statement as well, as far as using what we have is exactly what we're saying on a spiritual level, but what you're saying on a UCC
and on a financial level is we need to access our infinite money per se. I'm just using that as the name of what's on the YouTube video. And we need to use that money to put it into the EWF. And it's a plan that we can use, that we should be able to use more so sooner than later. And it sounds like a great plan because it sounds like the physical thing that we can do to achieve the spiritual thing that we're talking about, which aligns with the king and aligns with Kennedy and other things. Is that what I'm hearing? Because I do feel like that's what I'm hearing. Give thanks.
That is correct. That is exactly what I'm saying. That we have a practical approach and one that we can actually set a plan of action, and begin to manifest because I believe that is not the entirety of what the issue and solution will be, but that will assist in manage
started.
Right, and getting started.
You know what I mean?
It's already there. I didn't finish going into my story, but with Echo I Am, we actually had started creating our own identifications, and using them as driver's license, our own tags for vehicles, going into the courtrooms and completely shutting down the courts and making them have to dismiss cases that in any other instance they would have just ran over the person and put them in jail or had them paying fines and on probation and needlessly. So that led me to know that we actually have the ability to create our own identifications, self-identify, and operate underneath a religious organization.
One moment. That's the key important thing there. And I would suggest, brother, you please come into the Thursday class sessions because we have come across those conversations and reasonings a few times. And in the last one we just did, we'll talk about the juridical rights that the EWF does have, and it's past religion. So we could hold this reasoning. It's a great reasoning, and you've been out for a minute. But definitely on the Thursday classes, we have a little more time and we have a little more catching up to do with some of that talk. But yeah, we've been dealing with those situations, and we got some more stuff for you, brother. So give thanks.
Okay. Give thanks.
That's right. It's the truth about creation. That's what we're saying.
Hell
This is
yeah.
real.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Let's do it. We have everybody we need, I think, already to start trusting each other.
Yes, right. That's I and I have to overcome ourselves, and look at our actions, even when ones may say something we don't like or do something we don't feel good about. We have to look at the future of our actions because these people are ones we have to work with. So
yes,
we have to move
I
the
agree.
patience of the King to show our divine peace and mercy. But sometimes no move is the move. You know what I mean?
Right.
To maintain our identity and our unity, to overcome ourselves and always want to strike out when you feel like you've been under attack. So we must learn how to do this. And this is an initiative for that. When we talk about Neguselam, this is the divine peace, not of this world. For John 14:27 says, in peace I leave you, but my peace I give unto you. That's not of this world. You see, so the king already done though. Just to leave us in peace is not enough. Because we need his peace now. We need his peace now to fulfill the mission. Leave us in peace is not enough. So we have to use peace to give us the mission and the victory. For he represents that peace, for he is the akal of the Holy Triune. He is divine, he is the might and power, which is the divine peace. So we have to walk in his footsteps and use his testimonies and let those be our marching papers and our guidelines to overcome ourselves so we can invoke our Constitution and maintain our first aim is to promote love and goodwill among each other, and thereby to stand in unity together, solidarity together, which is our integrity and which is our divine sovereignty. So I give thanks at this time, and section 9, state of Neguselam, the Tawahito King, Negus, and the Negus golden invitation. At this time, I will ask the chair to play our national anthem so we can forward to the next time. Neguselam.
If you're thinking of Airbnb being your home, but you don't want to do it alone,
Got to be in that land of Ethiopia. It's the black man kingdom. Ethiopia, the land of our fathers, the land where our gods of to be. Like bees to our hive swiftly gather, our children are gathered to thee. With our red, gold, and green floating o'er us, and our emperor to shield us from wrong. With our hope and our future before us, we hail and we chant and we sing. God bless our Negus high, who keeps Ethiopia free, to advance with truth and right, to advance with love and light, with righteousness leading. We hail to our God and our King, humanity bleeding, one God for us all. Ethiopia, the tyrants are falling, who once smote thee underneath. And your children are artically calling from over Jadis and sea. Jehovah, the great one, has heard us. He has come to protect.
Neguselam, Lekulekemu, Malcolm Negatu, Abakudus, Kedamawe, Katamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibir, Sila, Sila, Sila. Adhuab, World, Memphis Kudus, Haile Kal, Abakudus, Kedamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibir, Bahamanab, World, Memphis Kudus, Haile Kal, Abakudus, Kedamawe, Haile Selassie, Siam, Exhibir, Sila, Melecheth. Our Father, who art in Zion, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, throughout earth as it is in Zion. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us and I. Taking us into temptation, and deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, world without end. Through the true and faithful witness, our Father, His Imperial Majesty, Apokadus Kidamawe, Adi Selassie Shem, Exibia, the true and faithful one of the Kidus Selassie. Neguselam, Lekulekemu, Malcolm Nagatu, Apokadus Kidamawe, Adi Selassie Shem, Exibia. Yi negusi negese tu ye deli meskeli. Yi Ethiopia koheb negusi. Yi negusi kudusi wede. Amlakana Helena Wasawana. Hasana. Tata Masagana. Amlakana Helena Wasawana. Hasana. Tata Amasagana. 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 Ethiopia Star King. Abakadus Kinamare, Haile Selassie, Shem Exibia. We the black peoples of the world, in order to effect unity, solidarity, liberty, freedom, and self-determination, to secure justice and maintain the integrity of Ethiopia, which is our divine heritage, we do hereby gather and uphold and ordain this Constitution of the Ethiopian World Federation, incorporated unto His Imperial Majesty Abakadus Kinamari Adi Selassie Shem Exibia as Commander-in-Chief in accordance with the 1931 Ethiopian Constitution granted to the Ethiopian people on July 16, 1930. Chapter 2, Powers and Prerogatives of the Emperor, Article 29. The Emperor reserves the right, with the advice and consent of Parliament, to declare war. He further reserves the right to decide which armed forces shall be maintained both in times of peace and in times of war. As Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, he has the right to organize and command the said forces, to commission and confer military rank upon the officers of the said forces, promote, transfer, and dismiss any of the said officers. He has further the right to declare a state of siege, martial law, or national emergency, and further to take the measures as are necessary to meet a threat to the defense of the integrity of the empire, ensure its defense and integrity. Therefore, he created and established we, the auxiliary of his force, Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, to come together, promote love and unity, and hold the front line within a righteous mind. For I stand in defense, and defend us not with hand, but with a righteous stand. For the morning vessels demonstrated to Ruda, conquering lion of prayer and righteousness and faithfulness. Give thanks for the patience today. Give thanks for coming and take part in this. State of Neguselam, divine peace of our King. Hallelujah. Give
Hail
thanks.
the
Give
eye,
thanks.
hail the eye, Selassie. Hail,
Yes, sir. Sila.
Sarah. Yeah. Pleasure. Yeah. Power. Yeah. Jawad. Time. Give them. It's a global meeting on tonight. You know that? King. Hail.
Yes, sir.
Hail.
Jamusa.
Yeah, do you know about the global king meeting tonight? Starts at 7.
Uh,
Yeah.